If you're an experienced guitarist, you might have started experimenting with some really exotic modal sounds like Phrygian dominant and super Locrian and all of this kind of thing. And if you're a very experienced guitarist, you'll have come to realise that pretty much no one wants to hear that kind of thing. Most of the stuff you're going to play in sets that pay you money and so on is going to be based around simple stuff played as well as possible. So in this video, I'm going to hopefully provide you with a little bit of a framework for how to thread together pentatonic positions all across the neck, which will hopefully make you feel a little bit more expressive and fluent when you're improvising with it. So the pentatonic scale, specifically the minor pentatonic scale, which I'm going to do here in the ever popular key of A minor. I'm sure you know this scale already. You've probably been encouraged to play it, in fact, in 5 different positions across the neck, going something like this, where position 1 is, and then position 2, and then position 3, position 4, and position 5. Now, that is not wrong at all, and I'm certainly not saying that you shouldn't learn that. What I have found, however, is that people who do learn the pentatonic scale like that sometimes struggle with threading it together in a fluent kind of a way when it comes to improvising with it. I think mainly because it's learnt as a kind of a theoretical abstract thing, and also there's just simply too much information there to take on board in one go, in my opinion. So what I would suggest is taking a small step back and learning them in slightly smaller sections. We're going to focus in on just learning a single octave from each of those 5 positions. Now that might seem like a little bit of a step backwards, but we can always fill in the gaps later. But I really think this is a good way of starting to link together the positions across the neck. So our first shape is going to start on the A note at the 2nd fret on the G string, and it's going to go like this: 2, 5, and then on the B string 3, 5, and then on the E string 3, 5 again. Our next position is probably going to feel very familiar. It's the top part of position 1, where we start on the on the A note at the 7th fret on the D string, and then we go to the G string 5, 7, then on the B string 5, 8, and then 5 on the E string. And then we're going to do our next shape starting from exactly the same place, 7th fret on the D string, and we're going to go 7, 10, and then on the G string 7, 9, and then on the B string 8, 10. Then our next one starts on the A note, the 12th fret on the A string, and then we go to our D string and go 10, 12, G string is 9, 12, and then on the B string 10. And then the last one again starts on the A note on the A string at the 12th fret, and we go 12, 15, and then on the D string 12, 14, and then on the G string 12, 14. So we now have our 5 single octave shapes going up the neck. They go. And a worthwhile exercise, I think, there is trying to emphasize to yourself how they kind of jigsaw together. You probably already noticed that the higher note on each string of one position is then the lower note on each string of the next position, if you follow me. So, for example, on that first one, the higher note on each string is here at the 5th fret, and then on the next one, the lower note on each string is at the 5th fret. So they have this kind of common ground in the middle, which makes them a little bit easier to start to link together. So one way you could practice that is by going up one position and then down the next position in sequence, which I'll demonstrate. I'm going to do this with the loop that I made earlier though. I always think it's worth practicing scales with some kind of backing as soon as possible, not just the metronome, because then you really get to hear it in context. So, now, if this is still quite new to you, you might find that even those 5 single octave shapes, that's still quite a lot to process all in one go. And if so, that's absolutely fine. Just always remember to do it in small sections. So you might begin just by playing around with those first 2 shapes and really try and exploit as much material from there as you can before moving on. Let's put that loop on again. Something like that. And just by having that little bit extra of the neck to play with, I think you'll find you start coming up with ideas that you wouldn't just by playing the same notes in a single position. So really good fun way to explore expanding your vocabulary with something relatively simple. So I really hope that was useful. If it was, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you with something else next time. Cheers.